brenn I årene blå. Ledda deg frys og månen lyser så kald. Altså forsvinn med eit fall. Og hva venter deg nå? Noe brenn I årene blå. Ledda deg frys og månen lyser så kald. Altså forsvinn med eit fall.
Evening, that's better. Yes, now you can hear me. And welcome to my dwarven fortress of Esmulrakust, otherwise known as Shoot Test, where we just survived a not shoot test, field tombs, where we just survived a goblin siege, and I'm just trying to find the button to turn my mouse pointer size up. There it is. And so now we are, well, mostly tidying up, to be honest. And at Tiziat's suggestion, preparing a checklist of things that I need to do at the start and end of each siege, so that I try not to forget them next time. Right, hang on a mo while I press a few more buttons. So, mostly I think the dwarves are like moving objects around. Yes, clearly at least some items that need moving. Yeah, lots of items that need moving. We're making lots of extra crossbow bolts because the bolt thrower doesn't half get through crossbow bolts, even given that quite a lot of them get to be reused. Because any that fall, I think... Oh, actually, we should see. Do they like hit the edge of the map over here somewhere? Doesn't look like it, actually, unlike the stones from the catapult, which are scattered all the way up there.
Wait, did they plonk into the edge of the map and then stop?
Yes. And then they fall to the ground. Yes, the stones from the catapult go clang into the edge of the map, and therefore we have piles of stone all the way around here that at some point the dwarves will probably come out and collect. So one thing I need to do is to re-establish the mines on the surface. Yes, unfortunately I don't have a very convenient way to show you my checklist. Though maybe I should do it by some inconvenient fashion.
Stick a web service on there.
So, okay, well, I could read it to you, but I should really read it. I mean, I could read it, I suppose, the post-siege checklist, though I think those should all be set correctly by now. So it says siege operators generalist. Siege operators are not set to specialised. Front siege engines stand ready. Oh, stand ready, that's the wrong column. Front siege engines load. Load. Oh, they're not all correctly set. Load. Other siege engines load or training.
Was that just bolt throwers or also the catapult?
Bolt thrower and the catapult. It was actually the catapult that needed to be changed. So yes, we will set someone to training. And the lowest, actually I can do this more quickly through these, can't I? Lower siege engines are those ones down there, and those should be set to load as well. That's correct. Main burrow pause. Correct. I should actually set that to inside, shouldn't I? Pasture unpause. Unpause. War dogs. Unpause. Barbican wagon bridge lower, which I haven't actually done. I'm wondering if actually what I want to do is to demolish that, but still, let's lower it for now and hope it doesn't kill anyone. It'd be kind of embarrassing if it turned out the only death, because I think it can technically kill someone.
Drawbridge is killing people.
Yes. Inner drawbridge, retract. Inner drawbridge is retracted. Surface mines to standard, we can't actually do that because there are no surface mines. And bolt holes, we should make sure that there's no one. There's a dead human there, we should fix that. The bolt holes should ideally be empty, which means that this dwarf here should not be inside this bolt hole, and in particular should not be nicking the food from the bolt hole. Right, clear off. Thank you. Lock the door to the bolt hole. Upper bolt hole. Oh, we do have some mines set up actually. I think I did that rapidly at the end of the last session. The upper bolt hole doesn't actually have a door at the moment. We should possibly fix that. I can't close it because it doesn't have a door. We don't have any undecorated doors. It will just have to be a decorated door. And that's the end of my current list. And the checklist has 2 columns, one for pre-siege and one for post-siege. So there's a separate list of basically do the same lot backwards. So I had another idea though, which was I've worked out how to fix the one-way entrance to the fortress. So we have this problem that there's a bunch of stuff that is lying around in the one-way door, and if we close the one-way door, then people can't get at it to clear it out. And if we leave the one-way door open, people keep getting confused by the fact that when they tread on this pressure plate, their intended route out of the fortress stops being possible. And it occurred to me that the correct solution to this is not to close this off or to try to be cleverer with where the doors are. It's just to tell the dwarves not to route through it. Oops, no, that's not what I meant. So we should just mark the section through the one-way door as restricted. Do not deliberately go this way. Only go this way if you have no other choice. In other words, only go that way when the inner drawbridge is closed, at which point we're fine with people cancelling jobs. That's precisely what we want them to do. We want them to go, oh, I can't go outside because when I try to go outside, a great big gaping hole opens up in front of me. And like, if they really want to go outside, they can climb back up through the gaping hole, or jump over it. But that should, I was going to say that shouldn't be a problem, and then I realised that one of the things we do have a problem with getting outside are siege engineers, siege operators, and they may well be foolish enough as to leap over the hole because they think it's really important that they should, rather than staying by their siege engines, go out and try to hit things with sticks or crossbows. So yeah, there may still be a problem there, we'll see. But this should at least stop bad things happening now, and we'll see. Like, we could always make the pit bigger so it's harder for the dwarves to jump over. You've struck Markazite, apparently. What?
Stream, perhaps see some of you tomorrow.
I have no idea what Markazite is. Let's look at the list of stones. No, that has no idea what Markazite is either. Okay, or rather, it doesn't think Markazite is interesting. Well, we'll make some of it anyway. So we are. Oh, those might have been a little while ago. I should have a look at my game log and see if I can see where things are, when things are happening. So yes, my hope is we won't get any more person cancels thing dangerous terrain, because they will no longer consider the terrain to be dangerous. But we'll see. How do I make F11 work on this laptop? Maybe I don't. Maybe everything gets very confused if I press the wrong keys. Let's just press that button instead. Right, so, okay, that's all the mining that we've asked for on this layer. There's still plenty of kaolinite up here, but on the other hand, there's probably a limit. Oh, it's a mysterious mood, a fey mood. You've grabbed a metalsmith's forge, begun a mysterious construction. Why do they always grab the wrong metalsmith's forge? I mean, it doesn't matter much. They are an adept weaponsmith, so I think we're about to get another artifact weapon of not entirely usefulness. But I'm not sure. Actually, I am pretty sure. What have they got by way of materials? Have they managed to get a sensible metal in there? Oh dear, I think it's going to be another Billen sword. Given that all we have is Billen and limestone. I fear that that's what we're getting. It just moves that back. Right. So, what else do we need to do? Oh yes, I was going to change how that bridge works. Because I don't think it... So, raising bridges are slightly dangerous in that if someone happens to be standing here, I think they might get killed by the bridge raising. So I think it would be safer if we had this be a retracting bridge. And like, I made it a raising bridge, I think because I was confused fundamentally. I thought that we wanted to have this bridge block access to the fortress, and then I made a route around it so that it didn't block access to the fortress. But actually I think that was a mistake, in that I think it should allow access to the fortress. The point of this is not to stop people getting in. That's what the drawbridge up there is for. The point of this bridge is to stop wagons being blocked by all the weapon traps down here. So in general, we should probably actually have this bridge retract. Well, we could reasonably have this bridge retracted all the time, except when we want a wagon to get in. Except that we don't really know when a caravan that has a wagon might turn up, and the moment it turns up, it will the wagon will immediately bypass your fortress if it can't reach the trade depot. Also, I think we want it to be closed most of the time, because that way the people walking across it won't see all the dead goblins on the floor below. I mean, there are no dead goblins there at the moment, but like there were for quite some time. So I think we actually want to demolish that bridge and replace it with one that retracts rather than raising, because retracting bridges are much less dangerous. This will, of course, mean there's a while when we can't get wagons, but we don't get wagons at the moment anyway, because we aren't either we're not big enough, or we don't have a baron or something like that. There's some weird rule in current Dwarf Fortress about this. Short of drink, aren't we? I should pay some attention to the drink situation. Like, I think some of it's being fixed by the fact that we're now harvesting strawberries. Like, there's lots of strawberries out here. Oh, actually, let's have a look at the food situation, because I have a vague feeling I had a poke through our food stockpiles since the last session and found some things that wanted fixing. Like, we have 15 tons of muskmelon vines and no one has bothered removing the melons from them. And we should probably do that. We also have an awful lot of potato plants, but I think potato plants and strawberry plants can be processed directly into booze. Why are those strawberry plants forbidden? Oh, probably because they were physically lying around in the farm plot or something. Let's unforbid any plants. Reclaim is the proper term. That way they can be harvested. Actually, I could do this by forbidding them all and then immediately unforbidding them, and that would be quicker. But I'm doing it like this now, so there. Yes, we do actually have plenty of unforbidden strawberry plants as well. We could possibly try to remember how you process a quarry bush as well, but that won't get us booze. Actually, to be fair, neither will the melons. So yes, we should probably actually have like a melon processing task somewhere. So here's our farmer's workshop. So I think we just want a process plants task. And to stick the obvious condition on it. Why is there a copper gauge in our raw fish stockpile? Who knows? Actually, I think I do. So we are getting job cancellations for making meals, and apparently for making plaster. Yes, I think we're short of bags. Do we have a quantity of leather in this place? Could we make some more bags? And we've got some cloth, I suppose. I did buy some cloth. Got 25 tanned hides. Why have we got? Oh, that's uncollected cave spider silk, isn't it? Yes. I think that's deliberately forbidden cloth in case someone wants it. Let's also forbid a few pieces of other kinds of cloth just in case. Have we got any plant cloth? We have, yes. Let's forbid some of that too. There's quite a lot of forbidden pigtail cloth, possibly for good reason. Right, so yeah, we've got 60 something cloth and tanned hides for some reason, not leather. 25 tanned hides. So have we actually got a clothier's workshop though? Don't think we have. Okay, I'm going to be lazy and make 10 leather bags because that's easier than building a clothier's workshop just to make some cloth bags. Right. So, do we have a stupid quantity of terrible weapons still? I mean, copper whips are actually surprisingly effective, but possibly we should... Why is that steel battle axe forbidden? Probably just because it's lying around outside. Someone can use that. I'm just wondering if we should make a couple more weapon traps out of whatever's lying around. We're mostly going for axes and maces, aren't we? Axes for goblins and elves, and maces for undead. So let's make some more. We've only got a few spears. Oh, go on then. We'll still use them. We'll just stick some spears up like that. We can always demolish those traps later when we get bored with them. Oh, we're going to need more mechanisms, aren't we? Pretty sure dwarves can't wield great axes, so let's stick those in there. I would install blowguns, but I don't think we have the ability to make any darts for them. So it will be a bit pointless. Yes. bows can go in there because we usually have we can then fill them with arrows at appropriate moments. Pretty sure we don't know how to use a two-handed sword or a halberd. And like morning stars seem fairly appropriate. There's some more halberds there. Right, that's everything. That gets us one more trap. How are we off for bedrooms? Don't seem to have any spare ones. Let us make more bedrooms then, which may mean digging. Don't know if we have any, like, oh, we do have some empty rooms at the moment. Use closest repeatedly. Let's just litter everything with beds. And then with doors as well. I presume I was intending to build more bedrooms out this way if necessary. But that's a few bedrooms anyway. Can I immediately designate them as bedrooms in multi-mode? That work? Yes, it does. Okay, it's quite capable of going, well, you're in, there's a bed scheduled to be placed there, so clearly it can be a bedroom. But we have successfully brewed at least some drinks, though I'm beginning to suspect that the dwarves are drinking the drinks as fast as I can make them. Puppies! Rushing out into the caverns to get into trouble, I'm sure. Are the miners busy? I think the miners are not currently busy. No, they're busy meditating on death. Oh, someone wanted... No, they'd founded a guild. They hadn't actually demanded a guild hall yet, I don't think. A weaponsmith guild hall. I'm just thinking we could send some miners out to mine a few gems, couldn't we? In order to keep ourselves supplied. I try not to send them out for very long, I mean with long lists of gems to get. Oh, it's some more obsidian. How suspicious. So far the obsidian has not proved horrifyingly dangerous. We could go up 1 Z level to that amethyst and then auto mine the rest of the amethyst. Yes, so we found these odd volcanic structures of obsidian. No, it's an artifact crossbow. Excellent. You know, that's a sensible thing to make from Billen, in that it doesn't need to be sharp. Somehow the game never worries about how springy your crossbows are. Possibly the limbs are actually still made of wood or something. And also you want them to be big, heavy for bashing people over the head with as necessary.
I was going to say maybe less recoil if the crossbow itself is massive.
That too, yes. Simon suggests less recoil from massive crossbows. Right, we've demolished the old bridge. We should also demolish the lever that operates the old bridge. on the grounds that it has excess mechanisms in it at the moment. So then we want to build a new bridge which should retract. I think we can just put it like that. Is there a kind of block we can make it out of entirely? Yes, we'll make it out of shale this time then. Like this wall is kind of pointless, but I'm not going to try to demolish it. Actually, it isn't entirely pointless. It's reinforced in order to stop people digging through it. Someone rushing around. Oh, it's the puppies again. Right, yes. Oh yes, there was that dead human who needed to be disposed of, and there's that sock which we can unforbid. I think I might need to do a bit more wandering around with the unforbidding stick. There's the dead human. Dispose of the dead human. Dizzy says, I wonder what proportion of your expended bolts are being recovered and with what efficiency. Yes, I don't know. Like, we've currently got 700 in total. Oh, 700 ammunition in total. Some of those might be arrows, though. Yes. Which we can't load into crossbows. We can load those into the weapon traps with bows in them. I don't know how many we expended. My current assumption is bolts are pretty cheap and we should just make lots of them. Like you can see, they can get fired quite quickly. But you get 25 out of is it out of 1 bar of metal? I'm not sure if that job needs 1 bar or 3, but it's fairly efficient making new ones. I think that bolts that miss and bolts, I think that at least bolts that miss don't survive. I think we have seen, in particular, undead with like 10 or 20 crossbow bolts stuck in them, which they have then pulled out when they were bored. I don't know if living creatures are as good at preserving the crossbow bolts that they're shot with. So, yes, I was going to unforbid. I mean, I think actually essentially everything outside now. There are some objects that I had deliberately forbidden. What were they? Oh, they were kinds of cloth, which is all inside the fortress. There's more gems there that we could harvest. Whatever it is you do with gems. Mine, that's the one. There's still a bunch of random bits of yak in that, in the old interim fortress. Oops, that wasn't the right place to start that. That's better. Now, I want to be slightly careful here and not completely reclaim everything, in case, in particular, I don't really want to reclaim things that are inside the fortress at the moment. But I do want to reclaim other things. I mean, I think I can actually do multiple layers if I'm really confident that I'm not going to hit anything I don't want to hit. We aren't quite above the entire fortress yet. There's a dead dwarf there. We should fix that. Is it one of our dead dwarves? Oh, you can click off the screen. How entertaining. Right, I think now we're above all the significant interior parts of the fortress. I suppose there is the bolt hole, but like to an extent, it doesn't really matter if we reclaim that. Like it should be locked fairly soon anyway. On which subject, it's probably got a door now. So we can mark that door as forbidden, so that then no one will go in there and nick all the food. We should still be walling these in case a necromancer turns up, shouldn't we? Let's do that. No. Yes, let's wall in anything that's... Of course, this bolt hole was meant to be a store of blocks for doing this job with, which is a bit silly. I can't actually wall that one off trivially. I think I should leave that tomb open, and we can then reuse it later. That'll do. So we could mine out a bit more of this, though to be fair we're probably not actually short of material, and it might be better to be mining gems, because those are the things we can run out of. The dwarves, when picking, Dizzy says it might be more efficient to make a batch of 25 than to have dwarves pick up crossbow bolts. Curious. Well, that's horrifying. One of our dwarves appears to have managed to fall into the moat, which is obviously a very dangerous thing to do because the moat's full of spikes. Please don't do that. It's a very dangerous thing to do. The moat's full of spikes. Like, I think this entire combat log is one fall into the moat. And like encountering multiple copper spikes, all of which stab you because, well, they're spikes. Well, I hope someone will come and bring you to the hospital if you can survive. If you didn't actually die on the way down there. No, you do appear to be alive at the moment. So I hope there should be a recover wounded job in here somewhere. Yes, good. Someone is coming to bring you in. I think something else just happened. Oh, they died on the way to the hospital. I mean, that's not entirely surprising. Has been found dead in that you were holding him or her. Oh well, yes. Well, I'm going to claim that wasn't a fatality from the siege. I'm a bit suspicious of that weapon trap. Oh right, it's being loaded. Right, that's why. That's the new one. It's not yet properly filled with arrows. Don't think that was a particularly unhappy dwarf. I didn't actually check that all of the coffins I was walling in were occupied, did I? Possibly I should have. That one appears to be. Yeah, some of those ones are not though. Let's quickly demolish that wall again. That one's not even a tomb yet. At least gives them a chance to put someone in there. Go on. I should have set that to the other mode, but it'll be fine. Right, so I assume the slightly surprised dead dwarf is now being buried, or has been buried. Looks like it. Oh, we should make a new lever for the wagon bridge, shouldn't we? And make a few more mechanisms because we're running out. Hang on, someone has become a stray cat. A stray, I suppose, yes, that's not entirely... So I was going, hang on, but stray means you don't have an owner, but if you have a name, you should have an owner. But no, of course, if your owner dies, you don't have an owner, and you still keep your name. And similarly, if you get a name by other means, such as by being particularly fearsome in battle, you similarly might not have an owner. And so you are a stray named cat. As opposed to these dogs, for instance, which are named but not stray because they do have owners. This all makes perfect sense. Well, some sense. That rooster is owned. We're keeping the llama just in case we want wool. Seb says, aren't cats self-owning? Well, yes, strictly, the cats adopt dwarves as necessary. Or as they see fit.
Although the cats in that list were labelled uninterested in an owner rather than uninterested in adopting a dwarf.
Yes. I think though that cats only adopt dwarves who like cats. We have a reasonable number of spare bedrooms, so we can wait a bit for those. So one problem we had with the current arrangement of the front of the fortress is that this square is transparent, which means that dwarves in here can see out through it, which is a bit of a problem. But we wanted that to be essentially transparent to rocks, so that this catapult can fire at 45 degrees that way. What I think we could do is to essentially have the catapult protrude one square beyond the drawbridge, or I suppose we could move the drawbridge backwards in order to make this less of a problem. I think we should not move the drawbridge backwards, because that would leave a little platform here, unless we cut that away, in which case we're essentially moving things forwards. And we have this nice smooth wall already. Why is that corpse not being buried? Is it because we can't actually get at any of the tombs yet? Possibly. But that would mean, yes, we'd need to demolish this wall, probably piecemeal for safety, reconstruct it slightly further forward, then move the catapult further forward, or rather demolish the catapult, rebuild it one square further forward, and then that square could become opaque, which would be a bit faffy, but let's do that slowly. Start at the corner we actually care about. This will, of course, leave a bit of a hole in the front of the fortress while it's going on, but it'll be quite hard for anyone to reach that, because you have to climb in anyway. Let's make it a reinforced wall, since we have that option available. It should be made out of... What colour of stone should it be made out of? Ideally grey. So we will make it out of shale and iron. Right, we are continuing to produce kittens, which we can use to tempt people into our fortress as necessary. So let's have a look, given we just got a message about new battle axes. Right, has everyone just reassigned themselves a Masterwork steel battle axe by any chance? Most of them, not all of them are Masterworks, but... There are certainly, that entire squad now has steel battle axes, but is not quite wielding them properly yet. Another kitten. So it should now be possible for that one of those tombs to be assigned to someone, namely the dead dwarf. All right, and indeed. Oh, of course, the said dwarf fell apart into lots of little bits, didn't they? So it may take a little while to bury them. Unfortunately, leaving the corpse in the entrance to the fortress, where everyone has to walk past it. Right, there we go. Mutilated corpse picked up. One of our dwarven babies has grown to become a dwarven child. There's a giant mole somewhere down in the caverns. Well, there was. Right, and we have produced at least some extra melons, which is why our food supplies are getting even more generous. Booze supplies, this is getting up. We had 61 a little while ago, so we are producing booze. Right, so I think that's our 86. Our unfortunate dwarf who fell in the moat. Buried. We can probably safely mine that pink tourmaline, can't we? That's not going to turn out to be an enormous great vein that leads somewhere unhelpful. You could nip up there and mine that green jade. That's quite nearby as well. It's not there though, it's in that bit. Oops. Get it right, Ben. There. And then well, we can clearly see the limits of that cluster. Probably shouldn't be mining vast quantities of metal ore down here though, because, oh, troll. No, toad. Okay, probably not as dangerous then. It's a capital T because it's a giant toad, of course.
Oh, so it might be dangerous. You never know with giant things.
Yes.
Giant peach-faced lovebirds sound harmless enough.
Also quite a quantity of turquoise there. We could dig out. Let's do that. Oh, we are in auto mining mode. Excellent. So actually that should be auto mining, and then we'll find any more of it. And similarly there's a bit of aventurine up there which we could go and get. Mine the kaolinite in non-automatic mode for safety, because we don't actually want to dig out all this kaolinite. We have much safer sources of kaolinite. You know, ones that aren't being guarded by giant toads. Though, oh no, the giant toad thought about leaving the map. I think the giant toad is benign. Right, so now this miner is digging out the turquoise and aventurine. Which we can then stick on, we can then use for making objects more shiny. That's just coal, we don't need to go. I mean, malachite would be slightly nice to have some of, but I mean, like, we may as well. We've got plenty of fluxstone, and plenty of coal. We may as well make iron and steel for the most part. I should probably notice whether we're running short of gems, and if we're not bother mining anymore. So should we start trying to set up more squads, I wonder? So the ones we've got currently are the crystalline drums, who are mace dwarves, the buttery brunch, who are mostly there for, well, the food, who are the ones who are mostly meant to be relaxing, the divine stones, who are the axe dwarves, and the syrups of starting, who should be Why are they only 2 out of my 3, 3 out of my 4 siege operators? Tun Lolok Shigos, who is in the wrong squad apparently. All right, they're in the buttery brunch so that they can try to relax. Let's see how relaxed they are. Getting better actually. Let's pull them out. So we could then have our siege engineers spend at least some of their time practicing their archery with crossbows. Oh, a petition. The Company of Diamonds has many members in field tombs and now requires a guild hall. Okay, let's try to actually do this one.
What is the Company of Diamonds?
They say what they want it to be a metalsmiths guild, so I assume guild hall. So I assume that's because they are a metalsmiths guild.
Diamonds, being a well-known metal.
Shush. Maybe they're using them in order to smith their metal somehow, or at least to engrave it. So our kind of, I think our situation is that that's a farmers guild hall because the guild asked for it. That's a not guild hall. Oh, didn't I do something really weird like make the lever room a guild hall? The Queen of Scratches is a weaponsmith guild hall, which is not quite the same thing. And is currently disabled, but nonetheless there's still a bunch of people in there, which is slightly confusing. Because it seemed that actually we wanted to have the guild hall quite close, well, at least a guild hall quite close to the levers. Like we could just carve off another lump of that corridor, but we want somewhere fairly high quality, I suppose. Ideally, like somewhere with an excitingly gem inlaid floor or something, but that's not going to happen. Maybe we just wall off another lump of this temple and designate it as a guild hall instead. I feel that the entire temple is that going all the way up to there is a bit much. Do we really not have any bricks? Why is there no mechanism that's producing porcelain bricks at the moment? Because we have more than 10 porcelain bricks, apparently.
Oh, is this one of these things where the person counting the bricks for purposes of deciding production knows where they are and nobody else knows where they are?
I don't know.
A memory leak of bricks.
Like we have 40. We have quite a lot listed. Oh, have they accidentally all ended up in the upper bolt hole, or somewhere equally unhelpful, like here? Look, well, those are forbidden, so those shouldn't be counted, I think. I mean, there are a few up here. Oh, is there like a bar? Oh, there's a block bin that's absolutely chocker, as it were, with blocks. Right, let's engage in some. Is this stockpile? The stockpile doesn't allow bins, so the bins are kind of spurious. But it is, on the other hand, a stupid quantity of blocks and bricks, and it's mostly limestone blocks, so I don't think that even this accounts for enough of them. But it does account for some of them. I mean, maybe we just set the threshold stupidly high and don't worry about it. And actually, apparently we only actually have 10 available, right? So if we set the threshold to 20, that'll be fine. Actually 30. I think bricks are something it's worth having lots of, because you often want to use a lot of them at a time. So all being well, that condition will now get checked and things will actually start happening. There's definitely a decent supply of kaolinite there. Right, and now that is scheduled, though I think the plaster job... So what's the plaster job triggered by? That presumably has a sensible condition. Right, that tries to stop once we've got enough plaster. Okay, so it's reasonable to keep that, to try to keep that actually going. We have, oh, an ambush. The elves are back. Right, time for the checklist. Curse all friends of nature. That's quite a few elves. Right. So, siege operators, specialised. Which essentially says don't do anything other than siege operating. Front siege engines, stand ready. We should name these ones. Which is P. I should possibly actually mark that as P, because otherwise I'm going to get confused by it. Other siege engines not in use. Main burrow unpause. That's not burrow. Pastures, pasture, pause. Where's the pasture? It's somewhere around the main entrance. That means no one will try to put any animal back in it if it leaves, and the animals will not feel obliged to stay in it. Similarly, war dogs, pause. Barbican wagon bridge says raise, but that should be retract now, because it retracts. Oh, we can't. Oh, that's a problem. In that case, we're going to have to diverge from the checklist a bit, I think, because we cannot withdraw this. We haven't yet connected it to its lever. Inner drawbridge, retract. Yes, please. So surface mines to blueprint mode if there are any mines on the surface, which I don't think there are. No, because we only marked a little bit. Bolt holes open. I'm wondering if we should do that slightly later, but no, we'll do it now in case someone decides to go into them. Right. So we don't want to close the outer drawbridge just yet, but we do want to link up that inner bridge pretty promptly if we possibly can. Because the problem is, if we close the outer drawbridges, no one can get back in, and we would like them to get in. Right. Still a dwarf skeleton there. Oh, that's not one of ours. Right, yes. Well, don't try to dispose of it just yet. We'll deal with it later. There is a child playing straight outside the main entrance. Not okay. No, I'm not sure what we can do about that. I mean, I think there's also a lot of people running around. And I'm kind of concerned there may be quite a lot of elves. Cancels link item to trigger. Item inaccessible. That's weird. Building to trigger, sorry. That task thus got lost and I need to restate it. Yes. Well, let's try it again. Possibly some bit of the fortress's connectivity has changed. So I'm wondering, given that there are dwarves still outside, whether we send the military out now. And like try to fend this lot off, especially given that our internal defences are, well, they're turned off at the moment, which is a bit of a problem. I think we should definitely, at the very least, get our main military squads standing by in the barracks. But I think I don't want to send them outside just yet. You're loading the wrong bolt thrower. Stop it. Go and use the other bolt thrower, the one that's now meant to be being used. No, you're just scared. So here is our foremost elf. I think we're currently, that was just cancelled again, wasn't it? Item inaccessible. It would be nice if I could choose which mechanisms you used for this. because I think then we might have less difficulty finding items you could use to connect it with. Oh, yes. Are you... No, surely you're... No. Oh, no, there's an obvious item inaccessible. Currently, yeah, we need to withdraw someone from the... Yeah. So the problem is that the mechanisms itself is outside the burrow. I think we temporarily adjust the burrow to include the barbican so that we can do this. Which is a bit dangerous because, like, it means that people can... Oh, hang on, we haven't actually closed the inner drawbridge yet, which is concerning me in its own way, but that might actually make it impossible anyway, and we'll need to open the inner drawbridge, which I don't really want to do. Let's see if that currently works. Like, they're elves. If we get a few of them inside the fortress, we're not going to be in serious trouble. This elf appears to be chasing our baby alpaca or whatever the hell that is. Yes. Which is probably a helpful distraction. The others are milling up around some distance from the entrance. The military are going, oh, where's my stuff? Which, like, is fine. That's why I've summoned them early. Someone is on their way to fire the catapult. No one appears to be on their way to fire the bolt thrower. The bolt thrower is much more effective, you know. But we'll take what we can get. Yes, this is someone whose name is Tombs Cosmos. It's hard to tell. Has emerald eyes, at least, but cinnamon hair and tan skin, so, like... This does not appear to be... Yes, I'm afraid the alpaca will not live very long, but will at least serve as a bit of a distraction while we get siege engines online. That's a war tiger. I mean, we may actually want to deliberately lock people out for a bit on the grounds that experience suggests that people aren't very bad are quite good at dodging enemies, and that way we can quickly get the fortress into a more defensible state. And, like, I'm just looking at this tiger and going, that could be quite dangerous. Let's close the outer drawbridge, even though it's a bit awkward for anyone who might be trying to get into the fortress at the moment. It will be particularly awkward if they're on the drawbridge at the time it raises. But, like, I'm looking at that tiger and going, I don't want too many tigers inside the fortress at once. Right, all being well, the smallish quantity of military dwarves we have waiting inside the entrance will we'll deal with the tiger. So I'm afraid the baby alpaca is not going to survive. Where are you? You're just running around. There's quite a lot of dwarves up here. Well, 4 of them. I would quite like to get them in at some point. But I think our priority is defending the fortress itself and actually getting ourselves into a position where we can defend it better. I presume the alpaca's dead. No, the alpaca survives so far. Partly because an elf is hitting it with the flat of a sword. Where are the other elves anyway? They're still all just milling around down there. It looks like it, yes. I mean, the ones we know about. Have they brought many tigers? I mean, we don't know because they've sneaked in. We only know of 1 tiger they've brought with us, so this may not be very dangerous. A few more of them have turned up. No, we are not sacrificing the fortress for an alpaca. Oh yes, there is of course an elf riding that tiger. But yes, okay, you have an excuse. I mean, I do intend to save everyone who's outside. It's just that I want to be in a position where we do have a sensible amount of defences inside the fortress, which we do not currently because that bridge is in half reconstructed state. I mean, if we're really lucky, we'll just get these 2 in a cage and then we'll drop them down into the caverns and see how they like it down there. But I think our dwarves are going to advance far enough to fight them. Dizzy says, at least they turned up before you started to dismantle the wall. No, look, this square here is now opaque. We replaced that bit of wall, which means that the field of fire of the catapult is rather smaller than it was. Right, the dwarves are about to meet the yes, I would suggest you stop trying to pick up equipment and start killing the elf spearman who has just arrived at the gates. Well, in your barracks indeed. Well, not quite in your barracks, because if they step forward 1 more square, well, the elf spearman has ended up in a cage because we do have a second layer of defences here, and the tiger has ended up in a different cage. So the elf spearman got attacked, leapt sideways and landed on a cage trap. The tiger looks like they may have done a bit better, having successfully scratched this unfortunate militia captain, but has then ended up in a cage as well. So that's good. We now just have a bunch of X stands up messages which are unhelpful. That looks at first glance, that is indeed one of our siege operators, I think. You will eventually manage to kill the alpaca, but they're not actually going to load the bolt thrower just yet. They're just taking they're just taking a pile of bolts to put in the bin. Which I suppose is sane. If you're going to the bolt thrower anyway, may as well take some bolts with you. So at some point someone will come along to reload these 2 cage traps, but that might take a little while. Yes, there's two load cage trap tasks waiting. Right, there's a few more elves entering. You're still having difficulty with the alpaca. You're still just standing up, yes. But like if the elves come in one at a time, this should be fine. Oh, there goes one half of the drawbridge. Not, sadly, the half the elves are on. Turns out it takes an alpaca takes quite a lot of killing if all you've got is a wooden sword. So all being well, this drawbridge will raise soon, and there'll be like 3 elves inside the fortress. Right, we almost have someone about to fire the catapult. Oh, we found more elves. Okay, we found the elves at the main entrance. This was when we spotted. Some of them have managed to sneak all the way into there. One of them on a tiger, I notice. The alpaca continues not to die despite the best efforts of the elf. I think someone tried to store an item in a bin and got scared. That's fine. So we have 2 more elves with riding tigers coming in. Oh, they're going to have to come through the one-way door though, because that's currently the only way into the fortress. I'm wondering, do I close it? Because we can. But no, I think it's fine for the elves to come in there, because then they might end up hitting the cage trap, and they will certainly end up hitting some reasonably well-armed dwarves. Like, I don't think there are enough elves coming in for me to worry about just yet. I am slightly going, has anyone pulled the lever for this bridge? To which the answer is yes. We're just waiting for it to respond to the signal. Surely you must be about to die, you poor alpaca. I bet you're leaking alpaca blood all over the place, yes. Oh, we should switch this to fire at enemies, shouldn't we? That will work better. And that one, because clearly when once someone is here, they should. Twang! No, that's just the baby alpaca passing out. I think this rock may have just missed both of those elves. Oh no, maybe not. Well, that was messy. So I think this dwarf may have decided that they're going to try to reach the elves. That seems a bit weird. Oh dear, this elf appears to be falling into the oh, I was going to say that elf was falling into the moat, but no, they've neatly dodged sideways. And landed not in the moat. We found a small number of additional elves. That's not really a problem. Right, the drawbridge has raised now. Okay. So that means we have a known number of invading elves, to wit 3, that need to be killed. Have you not finished landing yet? Maybe you have now. Oh, 4. Sorry, I've just spotted another one. This mace dwarf is currently standing over there waiting for something to happen, I think. The alpaca refuses to die. Yes, so here we see this mace dwarf climbing over the gap in the corridor because they really want to get to the elves. It's a slow process, mind. So everyone else is waiting on the far side going, what's going on? Oh dear, an elf has fallen into the moat, it looks like. A different elf. Not the one who leapt off the drawbridge, or possibly got hurled off the drawbridge after being hit with a stone. Right, so this is going to be a bit dicey. I hope you're well equipped. You're naked and holding a mace. Well, you might get away with this. I really think it would have been better if you had put some clothes on, though. Right, the baby alpaca has finally succumbed to the elf. So how is our foolish mace dwarf doing? Well, that's a good start. You have successfully bruised and to be fair, torn the some skin on your target. What's the war tiger up to? Nothing. So currently, slight advantage naked mace dwarf. Though I think actually now that we've got the outer drawbridge closed, we should open the inner drawbridge so that it's easier to get at this fight. Where is the inner drawbridge? There. The mace dwarf is now jumping over the hole in the floor. Is therefore airborne there because the floor hatch hasn't closed again yet. Oh, the floor hatch just closed while the mace dwarf was leaping backwards. The tiger appears to have leapt the other way. Sadly, the elf spearman has found their spear and stabbed our bold but inadequately armoured mace dwarf in the head. And we found more enemies. At least our mace dwarf knows how to dodge. How about you don't store items in bin and instead you use that bolt thrower next to you? Doesn't that sound like a good idea? One of the elves has decided to go through the bit underneath the bridge with all of the traps in it. That's bold. Let me know how that works out. I think it's going to work out extremely badly. I'm watching the game log in another window, waiting for an exciting event to happen. So there are several elves trying to get in through this passage because the inner drawbridge has not yet been opened. Ooh, what just happened? Nothing much exciting happened at the naked mace dwarf end, so I think this is just an unfortunate war tiger getting vigorously beaten up by our weapon traps. Our mace dwarf is not having fun. I was attacked, I am not exhilarated. Right, well, I think Rifafa has been taken out by the weapon traps. There is now an elf down there wondering, what do I do? I'm in a room that's apparently full of weapon traps. Right, yes, you're getting stabbed. Oh, one of our llama is being shot apparently. Yes, pursued by a couple of elf bowmen. So here's someone who is slightly better at dodging weapon traps than the tiger was. But yes, our mace dwarf is getting kind of stabbed here. But it's a rather difficult corridor for... Well, I suppose we could totally send the squads, tell the squads to try to get in there. Because yes, Minkot is having a bad time owing to not having bothered to bring any armour. And has now fallen down a hole. Which, like, might help. It will separate them a bit, because now that thing, that hatch above them will close eventually. So this square only has a mace dwarf and a spearman on it, but I think the tiger up above can attack still. Right, well, an elf down who foolishly decided to go via the traps has discovered that going via the traps is an excellent way to end up dead. Yeah, the thing is that this isn't a very useful set of attacks against someone. I've bruised your stomach. Yes, yes. That, on the other hand, that is a decent attack. I mean, would be better if it were a left-handed elf you'd broken the wrist off, but our spear dwarf is like... our spear elf, sorry, is shaken by by what's just happened to their wrist. And the thing, yeah, we've seen this before, that maces are not very effective until you get one good blow in, at which point it tends to be very traumatic for the victim, and after that they aren't very good at dodging it anymore, and they just get beaten into a pulp, kind of literally. Because, yeah, we saw that a lot with weapon traps, where they would go dodge, 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 like 10 maces in rapid succession, and then one would hit, and at that point things would start going very, very wrong. Right, yes, and a fractured skull tends to lead to death within reasonable time. Hint, why are you not going to operate that bolt thrower, you strange, strange dwarf? Because once someone's fractured your skull, they'll do this to you. Bashes the elf spearman in the head with her copper mace and the injured part explodes into gore. Tiziot says you could send your reinforcements somewhere else now. There's nowhere else for them to go. Like, there's just these two. We're now in a situation where there are two elves riding tigers, and that's where we want the reinforcements to be. Once we've disposed of these two elves riding tigers, then we can make the traps a little more deadly, and then we can open the front door again. That's the plan. I think there's something weird happening with war tigers. One of the tigers has leapt aside from the other one. Oh, I think there may be a bit of an issue that someone just trod on that that pressure plate and might have opened a hole in the floor again. Oh dear, is our poor mace dwarf about to get a tiger on the head? No, I think the tiger has made it across. Right, good. I mean, at the expense of possibly hitting another tiger. So now we have a slightly stunned tiger at the top of these stairs. Of a dented brain, sir. Or madam. Okay, that's a good one. Carol Kerol not goal. Doctor cancels diagnosed patient. Interrupted by war tiger. Yes, I think they've just spotted this tiger here, who is about to have some fun. Mincott, meanwhile, is scratching an elf now. Right, yes. Someone with a high-quality steel battle axe and at least some skill with operating it is going to take out a war tiger pretty quickly, it looks like. I mean, I wasn't expecting it to be that quick, but apparently a really good steel battle axe, you don't even have to use the pointy end. I think we may have just scheduled a job to butcher that tiger because tiger parts are valuable. Or at least to store it down here. Yes. Well, I mean, assuming that there's that people coming to collect the bits of tiger are not too scared off by further incoming tigers, this will be fine. How are you doing, Mincott? You're busy bruising people with your mace, okay? Or possibly more than bruising. I mean, I believe you're doing this from the bottom of a pit, aren't you? Yes. Which is kind of weird. Because, like, I wouldn't have expected as a mace dwarf you would be very tall, but you've clearly got a decent reach with this thing. Even you can reach an elf's upper body. Also, there's a tiger next to you. Don't want to alarm you. Oh, happily there's an axe dwarf nearby, so maybe you don't need to worry about the tiger. Since the tiger is now bleeding profusely all over the floor. And is indeed very dead. Right, how are we off for enemies? We do still have those two elves. Who are, I think, broken some ribs there. Yes, I recommend you be uneasy. So our mace dwarf at the bottom of the pit is doing a pretty decent job of the elf above them. I think the other elf has just leapt in the air, given... Oh, maybe I'm confused. Yeah, no, the tiger's leapt in the air, right, that's much more sensible. Let's just see how in... Yeah, you're bleeding. Oh dear. That tiger is not doing very well either. So yeah, we are getting some hits on our poor naked mace dwarf. That's just someone shooting a llama outside. See, you see, this one has turned up with some armour, which will limit how much effect you can have on them. So mace dwarf, busy breaking things. Axe dwarf successfully fends off an attack from the elf. Ooh, another mace dwarf has turned up. And has got scratched, but is wearing iron chain leggings because they're sensible. So Mincot, still inadequately dressed, but busy trying to destroy other people's clothes in order to fix this. It's still Mincot who's doing all the hitting here, providing some broken ribs to an elf. Yes, there's some fairly ordinary stuff going on here. Are you actually managing to get an attack in yet? Yeah, not much, no. You will know my ferocity. Excellent. You're clearly the right person for the job. I think something exciting just happened. A major artery in the heart has been opened by the attack. Oh right, yes. If you hit someone hard enough, you with a blunt weapon, you may be able to use their ribs as a piercing weapon inside them. Yeah, that's quite messy. I'm going to continue pressing dot until something exciting turns up in the logs, like that one. I think our surviving elf spearman, well, one of our surviving elf spearmen may be for it. Right, I think one of our elf spearmen is now at having a fractured skull, basically needs one good blow to the head. Okay, I wasn't expecting a war tiger to need one good blow to the head, but whatever. War tiger beheaded. That elf spearman is doing all right. The other one has not been hit recently, possibly because they've dropped dead already, I suppose. Yeah, I can't see them, I will admit. Oh no, there's still two elf spearmen in that square. One of them is fully healthy. The other one is tired, winded, in pain, heavily bleeding, and apparently in pain again. Two separate sets of pain. That's just how unpleasant it is. Ooh, nasty. Have you by any chance stabbed our naked mace dwarf? Yes, you have. I think. Yes. On the other hand, the other spearman is being suitably stabbed to death. Right, yes, so if you successfully stab one of us, then we're going to remove the arm you were using. Or at least greatly injure it. So I think these elves will not, this small batch of elves, all two of them, will not be much longer. Just like getting some idea of what's going on. Right, I think that was a fatality. Which one? Oh, the more recent arrival, I think, has been killed. So now, that other one, Kakame. Kakame is still alive, just. Oh, well that did, and not anymore. Right, so I think that now means... Yes, okay, you bashed the elf in the nose and took her head off. That now means that it should be safe to connect up that lever. And the task is still nominally scheduled. So that, given that the front door is unlocked, we can now safely disable the inside thing, burrow. And like, I think it would be perfectly reasonable to have someone collect up the elf corpses. Obviously the tiger corpses should be carefully butchered, because those will be worth having. The elves in cages can be, I suppose, released in... The elf in a cage can be released into the caverns. Don't know if we can slaughter enemy tigers, though. Huh. Why apparently am I not allowed to choose elf in this list? Apparently, elves. Oh, of course, it's elves, not elves. Yeah. Right. So the caged elf can be dropped off down in the caverns, for, or at least near the caverns, for later. So now I think we can unpause briefly and see what happens. And then go, what happened? Okay, there was something there that looked suspicious. I think someone leapt over someone else and has ended up crashing into one another and just making a horrible mess all over the floor. But I'm not quite certain. Right, yes, most of the messages we're getting now are people standing up slightly confused. Partly, of course, because they now have to work out how to get through the one-way door when there's an enormous crowd of them. And it's not really designed for that. Yes, if you're out there, don't actually be trying to plant seeds. That's an unwise move. The actual elves are just busy shooting llamas. That's fine. Unpause for a bit more and see what happens. So we have 3 elf bowmen doing things. They're improving their archery skills by shooting at our llamas. Oh dear, they're improving their archery skills by shooting at our dwarves. That's less good. Well, we're working on making it possible for you to come in again. Meanwhile, if you could just tempt those elves onto the railway. That would be particularly good. It says, many people seem to have flight paths. Yes, I think they're trying to work out how to get through the one-way door, which involves an amount of leaping over holes in the ground. At some point, the drawbridge will open and getting around in this place will be a lot easier. Our manager says, I must withdraw. Yes, please do. We'll give you a way into the fortress soon. The flying papaya wood arrow misses the dwarven child. Yes, we need to rescue the said child as well, but I want to get these traps accessible first. Oh dear, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. Right, I think we've dealt with a small batch of elves who came into the fortress. We now need to quite hurriedly get our traps working properly so that we can let more elves in. But now is not the time. Oh, what are you doing? You're finally staffing the bolt thrower. Excellent. Now, so next time we open the front gates, there will be proper siege engines in place. But we probably don't want to do that until the link building to trigger task is done, and no one is currently working on that. Oh, because it's suspended, right? Unsuspended. That will be better. Not that they really can until that bridge finishes opening. And we're still waiting for someone to even pull the lever for that. So we've got like quite a few ticks before anything good happens. So I think that will be enough for tonight, and we will be back on Sunday to see how this event finishes. But until then, I will save, return to the title menu, and say good night. Somewhere, where is it? Excuse me, I've lost my good night button. There it is. Good night.